Alright, so we're going to take a look at graphing a secant function. I've got several examples to do. Each example will have its own video, uh, so let's look at it real quick. So graphing secant. Well, in order to graph secant, we need to graph cosine function first. So as a quick review, just remember if you have y equals cosine x, okay? So if we graph this, now I know this is going to be kind of quick, and this is just the basic cosine function. If you need to know, if you want to know learn how to graph cosine function, I've got a video that goes into a lot more detail on how to graph the cosine function, so you can check that out. Well, we need the period, which we know is 2 pi over b, which this is 2 pi over, and b is the number in front of x, so you can see that's a 1, and so our period is 2 pi. So we're going to graph from 0 to 2 pi. And then what we want to do is we want to break this period up into 4 equal intervals. So we need the midpoints. So to find the midpoint, remember you just add this term and half it. So if we take 0 plus 2 pi, that gives me 2 pi, and then if I half that, I get pi. And so there's pi. And then for this one, if I do 0 plus pi, well, that's pi. And then if I half that, I get pi over 2. And then halfway between pi and 2 pi, well, pi plus 2 pi is 3 pi. And then if I half that, I get 3 pi over 2. Okay, so you need to get those points, and then we need our amplitude, which in this case is 1. So I know my largest and smallest value is going to be 1 and negative 1. And so we're graphing from 0 to 2 pi. We're just graphing it over one period. So remember, cosine starts out at its maximum, and then it goes to 0, and then it goes to its minimum, and then back to 0, and then back to its maximum. And your cosine function would look something like that. Okay, so if you once you get the period that you're going to graph it over, you need to break it up into these intervals here. And then once you break it up, no matter what the numbers are, that's how the cosine function is going to always do. Max, 0, min, 0, max. Okay. Alright, so let's take a look at the example. Alright, so here's example 2, graphing the secant function. And as you know from the first part of the video, we have to graph the cosine function first and use it as a guide. Alright, so let's go ahead and write down y equals cosine of 1/2 x plus pi over 3. Alright, so we need the period, okay, and we'll need the phase shift, okay. So you can find all that, but I think an easier way to do it is whatever you're taking the cosine of. So in this case it's 1/2 x plus pi over 3. Just put that between 0 and 2 pi, and solve for x. Okay, and that'll tell you the period that you're going to graph it over. Okay, so to do this, let's see. Well, to graph this, to solve it, well, let's multiply everything by 6 and get rid of the fractions. So that's 0 less than or equal to 3x plus 2 pi less than or equal to 12 pi. Okay, Remember solving inequalities and equations. If you have fractions, multiply each term by the common denominator. Okay. Alright, so now we can subtract 2 pi to all three parts. And so that's negative 2 pi less than or equal to 3x less than or equal to 10 pi. And then we divide everything by 3. And so I'm going to write it up here. That's going to give us negative 2 pi over 3 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 10 pi over 3. Okay. All right. So that's the interval that we're going to graph it over. Okay. And look, you know, your teacher might ask you for the phase shift. There's your phase shift right there. And to get the period, you can do this value minus this value, and that'll give you the period. Okay, so that's one way to do it, and I think it's easier because now we can just mark off the intervals. Alright, so let's go ahead and draw our XY coordinates. Alright, now if you notice here, I drew in the y-axis, but let's look at this. I'm going from negative 2 pi over 3 to 10 pi over 3. Well, where do I put the negative 2 pi over 3? Where do I put the 10 pi over 3? How far or close are they from the y-axis? Well, we don't really know because we know one's on the left-hand side of the y-axis and one's on the right-hand side. So what I like to do when that happens, I mean, if they're both on the same side, that's easy, just sketch them in somewhere. But if they're on opposite sides, just leave the y-axis off for right now and mark these on there. And then we'll find the midpoints, or break this up into our 4 equal intervals. And then once we do that, then we can draw in the y-axis, you know, pretty close to where it needs to be. Alright, so now let's find the midpoint between negative 2 pi over 3 and 10 pi over 3. So what we have to do there is to find the midpoint, we just add these two together. So that's going to be, what, negative 2 pi over 3 plus 10 pi over 3. And so that's going to be 8 pi over 3. And then we have to half it. So if we do 8 pi over 3 times a half, that's going to give us 4 pi over 3. The 2 and the 8 cancel. And so the midpoint there will be 4 pi over 3. And then we need the midpoint between negative 2 pi over 3 and 4 pi over 3. So negative 2 pi over 3 plus 4 pi over 3, that's going to be 2 pi over 3. And that is going to half that. Let's half it. So 2 pi over 3 times a half. Well, the 2's cancel. So I'm just left with pi over 3. So the midpoint here would be pi over 3. Alright. And then I need the midpoint here. So I'm going to add these up. So that's going to be 4 pi over 3 plus 10 pi over 3 equals 14 pi over 3. And then I need to half that. And the 14 and the 2 cancel. That gives me 7 pi over 3. So this is 7 pi over 3. And then I can draw in my my y-axis, and well, 0 pi over 3 is closer to 0 than negative 2 pi over 3 is. So the y-axis is probably going to be about right in there somewhere. Okay. Alright. And now, what do we need? Well, now we need the amplitude, right? I need to know the maximum and minimum value that I'm going to have for my cosine function. Well, the amplitude's 1. Okay, so we know the largest value is going to be 1. The smallest value is going to be negative 1. Okay. Now, if you remember for cosine, Okay, we're going to sketch in cosine, graph of cosine. So remember, cosine, we're graphing from here. We're starting at negative 2 pi over 3 and we're going to 10 pi over 3. Well, remember, cosine starts out at its maximum, and then it goes to 0, and then it goes to its minimum, and then it goes back to 0, and then it goes to its maximum. Okay, now I know this doesn't have a negative in front of it, and I know you might have some that's like that. Well, I have some videos on cosecant, and it's graphs similar to this, except you just do the sine function instead of the cosine function, and those have negatives there to where the graph's flipped, reflected about the x-axis. So you might want to check those out. All right, so now let's come in here and sketch in our graph of cosine, and we sketch it in with a dotted line, okay, because it's not part of the final graph. Okay, we're just using it as a guide. All right, so now we need to draw in our vertical asymptotes. Our vertical asymptotes, that's where secant is undefined. Well, we know that secant x is 1 over cosine x. So whenever cosine is 0, that gives me 1 over 0. Secant is undefined. Well, I can see that cosine is undefined at pi over 3 and 7 pi over 3 in this case. So there's my vertical asymptotes. All right, now we can sketch in our secant function. So at the maximum and minimum values, we draw in our U-shaped branches. And I know this doesn't look very good, running out of room, but it's going to look something like this. Let's pull that down. Just draw that on down like that. Okay, I know it doesn't look very good, but good enough. All right, so and you can see that it's increasing here. The secant function's increasing because look, you see the y values for cosine, they're getting smaller and smaller, right? Well, cosine is in the denominator, and as the values of cosine get smaller and smaller, the whole fraction gets larger and larger, and that's why it's moving up to infinity here and here. And it's going to negative infinity here and here because, yeah, it's getting smaller, but the values are negative, so that's why it's negative infinity. Alright, so hope the video helped. Check out my other videos. Give me a like, share, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.